Well, the devil disappeared, and while he was gone, Faust thought about him and became obsessed with seeing him again, and the possibility of some kind of arrangement between them. When Mephistopheles did return, he said to Faust, "This is what I propose to you." He said, "All right, so for my part, I'm going to bring to you whatever you want in this life. And in the next life, you're going to work for me." Now, for Faust, it's a very good arrangement because about the hereafter, he cares not at all. But about the here and now, he would like it as good as he can get. So he says, "Yes, on this, I give you my word." "Your word is not good enough. I want it on paper, and I want it in blood." And Faust, with barely a second thought, agrees to sell his soul to the devil.
Wenn dies dir völlig Genüge tut, so mag es bei der Fratze bleiben.
If you want it that way, you shall have it. And the devil explains,
Blut ist ein ganz besonderer Saft.
blood is a very special juice.
That was interesting.
So, what happened to the historical Faust, you ask? Well, his students stood at the door all through the night, listened to the screaming and the crying as the devil stole his soul away. And in the morning, they found him dead.
They had these yellow cotton ties. Very strange, but nice.
Is the secret inner mind a subconscious dustbin? Or is it a basic part of the whole personality? Are dreams disguises for a pornography we cannot face? Or are they indications of a progress through a life process having striking parallels with alchemy? Can we say the alchemist was experiencing induced waking dream? Are we not wandering through a wilderness of false hypotheses?
My name is Mary Skłodowska. I was born in Poland and attended a lycée there. I then taught for several years. In 1892, I left Warsaw and went to Paris to study science. I met Pierre Curie in 1894. He seemed very young to me, although he was at that time 35. I was struck by the expression of his clear gaze, his slow, reflective words, his simplicity, and his smile. A conversation about science began between us, and he asked if he could visit me. I received him in my simple student room. Soon he caught the habit of speaking to me about his dream of a life consecrated entirely to scientific research, and he asked me to share that life. Our marriage took place in July 1895. Our daughter Irene was born in September 1897, and as soon as I was well again, I resumed my work in the laboratory with the intention of preparing a doctor's thesis. The presence of a mysterious, invisible ray has been discovered. It is powerful enough to pass through clothing, even the skin of humans.
On a theme for my doctorate. The discovery of the X-ray by Röntgen had excited the imagination, and many physicians were trying to discover if similar rays were not emitted by fluorescent bodies under the action of light. With this in mind, Henri Becquerel was studying uranium salts, and as sometimes happens, came upon a phenomenon different from that he was looking for. The spontaneous emission by uranium salts of rays of a peculiar character. This was the discovery of radioactivity.
Well, the way this happened was completely by accident. At first, Becquerel thought rays penetrated the black paper onto the photographic plate only when the salts had been exposed to sunlight. So he decided to repeat this experiment. In his dark room, he covered the photographic plate with several layers of paper and placed the uranium salts on it. But it was cloudy this day. So he put the salts and the plate away in a drawer, and he sort of forgot about it. Later, he developed the plate and saw that again, the crystals had left their imprint on the plate. He asked himself, now, where did the uranium get the light? It was like magic to him, and it contradicted Newton's law of the conservation of energy.
It was in this abandoned shed that the best and happiest years of our life were spent, entirely consecrated to work. We had no money, no laboratory, and no help. This period was for my husband and myself the heroic period of our common existence. It was suffocating in summer and freezing in winter. In the evening, I was broken with fatigue. In spite of the difficulty of our working conditions, we felt very happy. Our days were spent at work in this poor shed, where there reigned a great tranquility. We lived in our single preoccupation, as if in a dream. I decided to devote myself entirely to the purification of radium. At last, the time came when the isolated substances showed all the characteristics of a pure chemical body. In 1902, I possessed 1 decigram of radium. It had taken me 4 years to produce it.
Le présent travail a pour
The
but
baby had
d'explorer
been
les
put to
recherches
bed
sur
and
les
cried again.
plus de
I
4
stayed
ans
with her
sur
until
les
she fell
substances
asleep.
radioactives.
Then I went down and tried to
J'ai
sew,
commencé ces
but I was too
recherches
restless.
par l'étude de
I
la
suggested to
radioactivité
Pierre that we go to the
faite
laboratory.
par Monsieur Becquerel.
We opened the door in the dark.
Les résultats
I begged
de ce
Pierre not to
travail
light the
ont
light.
découvert
The reality was more entrancing than we had wished.
qu'abandonnant
It was
les
spontaneously luminous.
se joignit à moi.
It appeared to be a dull white powder, which might easily be mistaken for common kitchen salt. But its properties, better and better known, seemed stupefying. Its radiation passed all expectation in intensity. proved to be 2 million times stronger than that of uranium. Only a thick screen of lead could stop these insidious rays in their invisible flight. What could it not do? It made an impression on photographic plates through black pepper. It made the atmosphere a conductor of electricity. It colored the glass receivers, which had the honor to contain it, with mauve and violet. And it corroded and little by little reduced to powder the pepper in which it was wrapped. And finally, the radiation of radium was contagious. Contagious like a persistent scent or like a disease. It was impossible for an object, a plant, an animal, or a person to be left near to a tube of radium without immediately acquiring a notable activity, which a sensitive apparatus could detect. This contagion, which interfered with the results of precise experiments, was a daily enemy to Pierre and Marie Curie. In some sort of crude sense, which no vulgarity, no humor, no overstatement can extinguish, we physicists have known sin, and that is knowledge which we cannot lose. J. Robert Oppenheimer, physicist, director of the Manhattan Project, 1946.
Microphone live.
July 1945. Memorandum for the Secretary of War. Subject, the test. General Groves, you're on.
At 05:30, 16 July 1945, in a remote section of the Alamogordo Air Base, New Mexico, the first full-scale test was made of the implosion-type atomic fission bomb. For the first time in history, there was a nuclear explosion. And what an explosion. It resulted from the atomic fission of about 13.5 pounds of plutonium, which was compressed by the detonation of a surrounding sphere of some 5,000 pounds of high explosive. The bomb was exploded from the top of a 100-foot-high steel tower. The test was successful beyond the most optimistic expectations of anyone.
Yeah, it worked.
I estimate that the energy generated to be in excess of the equivalent of 15,000 tons of TNT. There were tremendous blast effects. For a brief period, there was a lighting effect within the radius of 20 miles equal to several suns at midday. A huge ball of fire, which lasted for several seconds. This ball mushroomed and rose to a height of over 10,000 feet before it dimmed. The light from the explosion was seen clearly in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Silver City, El Paso, and many other points up to 180 miles away. 1/2 mile from the explosion, there was a massive steel test cylinder weighing 220 tons. The blast tore the tower from the foundation, twisted, ripped it apart, and left it flat on the ground.
He likes it rough.
I no longer consider the Pentagon a safe shelter from such a bomb.
Coward.
With the assistance of the Office of Censorship, we were able to limit the news stories to the approved release, supplemented in the local papers by many brief stories from eyewitnesses not connected with our project. One of these was from a blind woman who saw the light. Brigadier General Thomas F. Farrell was at the control shelter, located 10,000 yards south of the point of explosion. His impressions are given here. General Farrell.
Thank you, General Groves. 20 minutes before 0 hour. General Groves left for his station at the base camp. First, because of our rule that he and I must not be together in situations where there was an element of danger, which did exist at both points. Just after General Groves left, announcements began to be broadcast of the intervals remaining before the blast. Now, as these time intervals grew smaller, changed from minutes to seconds. The tension in the room increased by leaps and bounds.
Whoa!
Everyone in the room knew the awful potentialities of the thing that they thought was about to happen. The scientists felt that their figuring must be right, that the bomb had to go off. But there was in everyone's mind a strong measure of doubt.
Is it in?
So those 3 little words every man hates to hear. Is it in? Oh, you better believe it, we hate that shit. Boardwalk, Park Place. I think the feeling of many could be expressed by, Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief.
I think it can be safely said that most of those present, Christian, Jew, and atheist,
Are you Jewish, sir?
were praying, and praying harder than they had ever prayed before. Dr. Oppenheimer, on whom had rested a very heavy burden, grew tenser as the last seconds ticked on. He scarcely breathed. He held on to a post to steady himself. For the last few seconds, he stared directly ahead. And when the announcer shouted, "Now," and there came this tremendous burst of light, followed shortly thereafter by the deep, growling roar of the explosion, his face relaxed into an expression of tremendous relief.
Well, hubba, let's shoot some breeze. Say whatever happened to the Japanese. Hubba, ain't you heard? Hubba, got the word. I got it from a guy who's in the know. It was mighty smoky over Tokyo.
A friend of mine in a B-29 dropped another load for luck. As he flew away, he was heard to say, hubba, yeah.
Well, I got another mission, it's okay. And with your kind permission, I'll just say, hubba, on my way. And I'll meet you later in the USA. Dig, you later. Dig, you later.
Well, hubba, just get in. Hubba, give me some skin.
You're looking mighty pretty, this curly lock. You're the gravel dirty with the bobby sock.
Hi-yatta, you talk big. So I'm the fresh tomato you can't dig.
Let's have a heart-to-heart and you decide. I'm the guy who's really on the solid side.
You knock me flat, you're the kind of a cat makes me wanna blow my top. When I feel this way, I can only say,
hubba. Well, you really put together, that's no lie.
I'm glad we got together, you and I.
Hubba, I'm on my way.
And I will dig you later.
Baby, you're really over
Several of the observers were knocked flat by the blast. The tension in the room then let up. We all started to congratulate each other.
Was it good for you?
Atomic fission could no longer be hidden in the closets of the
Excuse
theoretical
me.
physicist's dreams. It was almost full-grown at birth.
You're kidding.
It was a great new force to be used for good or evil.
Evil!
Strong, sustained, awesome roar warned of doomsday and made us feel that we, puny things, were blasphemous to dare tamper with the forces heretofore reserved to the great God Almighty.
Who?
General Groves.
Thank you, General Farrell. We're all fully conscious that our real goal is still before us. The battle test is what counts in the war with Japan. L.R. Groves, Major General, U.S. Army.
That was interesting.
The war's over. One or two of those things in Japan will be finished.
Telegram from General L.R. Groves to Secretary of War Stimson and Harry S. Truman. Potsdam Conference, Berlin. Code Priority 1A. Doctor has just returned most enthusiastic that the little boy is as husky as his big brother. Stop. The light in his eyes discernible from here to High Hold. Stop. I could hear his screams from here to my farm. Stop. L.R. Groves, Major General, U.S. Army.
It is an atomic bomb. It is a harnessing of the basic power of the universe. The force from which the sun draws its power has been loosed against those who brought war to the Far East.
1945年の8月の6日、広島の空には雲一つありませんでした。南から軽やかに風
On
が
August the 6th, 1945, there wasn't a cloud in the sky above Hiroshima as a mild wind blew from the south.
朝、空襲警報が出ました。
At 9 minutes past 7 in the morning, there was an air raid warning, and 4 American B-29 planes appeared. The planes turned and flew away.
7時半に空襲警報が解除。
At 7:30, the all-clear signal was given. Feeling themselves safe, people came out of their shelters, and the work of the day began.
上空にランランとしたピンク色の光星が現れ
Suddenly, a glaring pink light appeared in the sky with an enormous shaking that was followed almost immediately by a wave of great heat and a wind that swept away everything in its path. Within a few seconds, the thousands of people in the streets and the gardens in the center of the town were scorched by a wave of searing heat. Many were killed instantly. Others lay on the ground suffering from the pain of their burns. Everything standing in the way of the blast was knocked down and went around in a whirlwind as it was carried into the air. Trams were knocked down. Who knows what trams are?
Well, they're, trolleys, like, on tracks.
On tracks, that's right. They're streetcars. Well, they were flung off their tracks as though they were toys. Trees went up in flames. The rice plants lost their greenness. Beyond this zone, that means this area of destruction, nothing stayed alive. Those people who managed to get out by some miracle found themselves surrounded by a ring of fire. And the few who did make their way to safety died 20 or 30 days later from the delayed effects of the deadly gamma rays. About a half hour after the explosion, while the sky all around Hiroshima was still cloudless, a fine rain began to fall. It was a black rain from all of the dust in the air. Then the most violent winds arose, and the fire spread very fast, because most Japanese houses are made of timber and straw. I teach school.
School? Oh, fascinating. Tell me more. Ernestine, what do you teach? Grade school?
As a matter of fact, I do. I teach 3rd grade.
3rd grade. Now, folks, how do you like that? Tracy here said she taught school. I guess grade school. I got it just like that. Let's have a big hand for me, huh? Yeah, hey, you call that a big hand? I think that stinks. I couldn't get a hard on all night with a hand like that. Anyway, Boardwalk, Barclays, moving right along here.
All of us, I am sure, are anxious that the atomic bomb never again be used in warfare. All of us want atomic energy used for peaceful purposes to make life better and fuller. The release of atomic energy is certain to affect every phase of every man's life. Like the discovery of steam and electricity, this may well hold the promise of tremendous benefits to mankind.
My name's Stephanie Rudolph. And my name's Linda Nuciccio. We're from St. John the Baptist High School in Jamaica, Queens. Like many young Americans, we participated in a statewide science fair competition. And our exhibit, Atoms for Peace, won first prize.
We're here today to guide you through some of the recent discoveries about the amazing atom.
How does this work? Look at this crazy uranium.
One of the most important experiments in modern physics took place on December 2nd, 1942 at the University of Chicago. It was the first man-made nuclear reaction under the supervision of Enrico Fermi, an Italian-American physicist. This is a model of man's first nuclear reactor. It was constructed in great secrecy under the university's football stand.
See, if the control rod is withdrawn, a chain reaction occurs.
Careful, Steph.
I heard he's a commie.
No, just a pinko.
Well, I still like his clothes.
Atomic power has grown swiftly since that day in 1942.
Powerful and obedient atom is making our lives healthier and more prosperous. Here are just a few of the products being developed from atomic energy that will be useful to society.
This is a model of a nuclear coffee pot made by Monsanto Research Corporation. Just 1/5 of an ounce of plutonium-238 will perk coffee for more than 100 years on its own self-contained heat supply.
This is an example of the Atomic Energy Commission's plutonium-heated long johns for Navy divers. In the near future, they will be on the market for campers and hikers. Linda and I love to camp.
This is a nuclear wristwatch developed by Bulova Watch Company, and this is a nuclear pacemaker, surgically implanted and wired to the heart. Its plutonium-powered battery lasts forever. Doctors predict it will save millions of lives. Radiation is the most recent step in man's ancient quest to preserve food. It not only kills the bacteria which causes food to spoil, but it actually keeps it fresh for months and even years. Less vitamins are lost than in canning, freezing, or drying, and the food is not too radioactive to eat.
This is an irradiated hamburger. Normally, hamburger spoils in just a few days, but a radiated hamburger keeps its taste and appearance 10 times longer. It sure is good, Linda.
This potato is in perfect condition 8½ months after it was exposed to 20,000 Roentgens of gamma rays. And this untreated potato, as you can see, has spoiled.
A taste panel gave asparagus, bacon, green beans, beef, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, chicken, carrots, and codfish cakes a taste rating of good after they've been sterilized by radiation.
There are so many other things things we'd like to share with you about the atom and atomic energy.
Yes, we haven't even mentioned the medical uses of radioactive isotopes.
Atomic glow-in-the-dark signs and batteries.
Testing for carbon-14 in archaeological research.
The atomic age promises to bring easier and faster transportation.
More food and better health.
And hundreds of new conveniences in the home.
She's a cheap date.
No, she's not.
They really
She got the cutest poodle.
I was fascinated by that coffee pot.
I like the Gamma Garden best.
Did you get the new Frankie Lane record? Did you taste those hamburgers?
Me like that.
The mystery is simply that all is mystery. We can say that at last mankind possesses a new knowledge of the material structure of the universe and of the inorganic nature of the human psyche.
Excuse me. Is there a dental clinic in the neighborhood?
No, not really.
Thank you. Bless you, my son.
Anything is possible. The world finally stands poised before an inexhaustible pool of energy. The radioactive isotope is modern man's philosopher's stone. Professor Jung, in his 3 large works on the subject, pointed out that...
Excuse me here for 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I just got to take a little break here and check something out for a second here. And I'm up here trying to remember a few jokes. I'm getting a little bit distracted because it seems to me ever since I came up here tonight, there have been a number of you out there who have been doing nothing but staring at my crotch all evening, folks. I'm just wondering what's going on. Hey, some of you are doing it right now. I see you, yeah. Gee, folks, I know I am riding a little low tonight. I happened to stop in one of those little novelty shops. Great selection. I happened to pick up a little something. I think you guys are going to get a big kick out of it. They say it drives the women crazy. Here it is. What? You've heard of a French tickler. Well, this is a chick tickler. Okay, get down, yeah? I'm just teasing, folks. I'm just kidding. Actually, this is a Jewish prophylactic, okay? Just kidding, I'm just kidding, sir, just kidding. Okay, no, folks, actually, this is a dead chicken. That's right, it's dead. You can hit it. It offers no sign of protest. It's dead.
Can we look forward to startling changes, to results that fire the imagination?
Yes, indeed we can. For long, long centuries, men have dreamed of a philosopher's stone which would change base metals into gold. Man can now change nearly all the elements found in nature. He can create new elements to use for a richer, better, more abundant life. Just as the radio and the science of electronics could not have been predicted 50 years ago when the X-ray was discovered, so today we can only speak in whispers of and barely glimpse the ultimate horizons of atomic energy.
Look, the likelihood of a nuclear power plant accident is relatively small compared to that of many other kinds of accidents having similar consequences, okay? Now, I know there are some in the public sector, bleeding hearts, who will feel that the likelihood of a nuclear power plant failure should be made essentially zero. That is incredible. Come on, nuclear accident risks are relatively small compared to other man-made and natural accidents. All other accidents, including fires, toxic chemical releases, dam failures, explosions, hurricanes, typhoons, and tornadoes are more likely to occur and can have consequences comparable to or greater than nuclear power plant failures.
We want to respond here to the insidious campaign of slander and half-truth that has blackened the public image of plutonium. It is frequently called the most toxic substance known to man. Ha! Not so! Botulism toxin, for example, is 1,000,000 times more toxic than plutonium. Oh, per ounce, inhaled, yes, agreed. The two are comparably toxic. But plutonium is a solid material which can only be harmful if inhaled of a very fine dust. Now look, given the choice between
was interesting.
Of course there are risks if we are not vigilant. But we do not have to be hysterical. We can be vigilant, we can be Americans. We can stand up and hold up our heads and say, America is the greatest force that God has ever allowed to exist on his footstool. As such, it is up to us to lead this world to a peaceful and secure existence. And I assure you, we can do it.
A hell of an enemy attack can come smashing out of the sky at any time. And every last one of us will have to be ready to face what happens then. There'll be plenty of suffering, plenty of misery, broken homes, death. Dangers that used to belong only to soldiers, but we've got to be able to take it and come back fighting. You know, a lot of people behind the Iron Curtain are wondering whether we can take it if we're attacked. They're carefully measuring our courage, our capacity to fight, our capacity for sacrifice. They think they have the answers. Well, you and I and every American has to examine their minds and hearts and come up with a few answers of their own. The question is, have Americans got the guts? Have you got the guts?
We may be witnesses to a biblical prophecy come true, and there shall be destruction and darkness come upon creation, and the beast shall reign over the earth.
If you seek to change gold into silver or any given metal, have regard to the following tabulations. To transmute salt into Luna, Venus, Mars.
Say, what did the elephant say to the naked man? What? How do you breathe through that thing?
Stand by. 10 seconds to air time. Line outside.
What thing?
Take those sunglasses off.
Good evening, and welcome to Understanding Science. Tonight's guests are Margie Monroe and Tommy Rink, co-winners of the Applied Science Contest sponsored by the Defense Education Program. Let's welcome Margie and Tommy.
This is a hydrogen bomb. There's really only one important thing that you must remember about the detonation of a hydrogen bomb, and that is that it takes place in 3 stages: fission, fusion, and more fission. Can you say that, Tommy?
Fission, fusion, and more fission.
That's good. Now, the first thing I'd like to do is make some very small, organized piles of all of my parts and ingredients. First, we have the DT neutron generator, and it goes on the outside of the entire bomb. And then I have a lot of small detonators. I should have 10. You better count them, Tommy. Now, this is all for the primary system. Now, in my first pile, I'd like to put my plutonium-239. Try not to breathe.
He had a weird
And my
haircut.
uranium-235.
I mean, it was like his hair couldn't make a
Now,
commitment, you know what I
This
mean?
is a very catchy name. This is called fission, fuel, fissile. And then I have my uranium-238 right here, but I don't need it. So just for the time being, I'm just going to put it right over here. Now, all of this is for the primary system. The primary system is, of course, in fact, just a small fission bomb. Just like the small fission bomb that... Nagasaki. Anyway, what just tickles me to death about that little fission bomb is that it looks like a cantaloupe. Now, if you can just imagine this really tiny, petite, little Japanese man. He's tooling down the street in Nagasaki one day. He looks up in the sky, sees this cantaloupe descending on his hometown. Sure enough, hits the ground. Nagasaki. Anyway, a cantaloupe.
I am the poison-dripping dragon who is everywhere. That upon which I rest, and that which rests in me, will be found in me by those who pursue their investigations in accordance with the rules of the art. My fire and water destroy and put together. From my body you may extract the green lion and the red. But if you do not have exact knowledge of me, you will destroy your 5 senses with my fire.
I felt sorry for him. He has a brother who's paralyzed. It's so tragic because he had this great chest and these great arms and a really great haircut.
Now, this is an example of the government's polystyrene foam. It comes from a place in Kansas City, Missouri called the Bendix Corporation. But you don't have to send to Kansas City, Missouri for your polystyrene foam. I mean, this is a homemade bomb. Use your imagination. Have fun. Cut up a surfboard. Now, I'd like to have the Cub Scout here wire the detonators one by one into the primary system. Using extreme caution, Tommy, because it would be such a pity to have even the tiniest explosion. All right. Now, what happens is, when the trinitrobenzene explodes, it's going to drive the beryllium neutron reflector and heavy uranium toward the fissile core. And that core is going to be squeezed like so tight that it becomes supercritical. And at the same time, the DT neutron generator is going to bombard the core, starting a chain reaction in the fast-fissioning plutonium-239. Now, it's right at this minute that we've got to get the primary system going. That is, the fusion fuel going, before the primary system blasts everything away. And all the time that we have to do this is 1/1,000,000th of a second. And what we have to do is we have to get those X and gamma rays from the fission to scoot on down to the fusion fuel. And the fusion fuel, the lithium-6 deuteride, is stored in this container that looks remarkably like a steel carrot. And around that steel carrot, we have all that polystyrene foam from the Bendix Corporation, so that while that steel carrot is being pushed and shoved around by the X and gamma rays from the fission, it has a little time, a little space to develop some momentum before it goes. And when it goes, it releases 1,000 times more energy than the destroyed Hiroshima. And the fallout totals everyone within 150 miles. This is the secret of the hydrogen bomb. It's a question of design and not ingredients. And that's our bomb. Right, Tommy?
That was interesting.
Tell you what I need right now. A little volunteer from the audience, okay? Anybody, just stand right up. Come on up here. Tracy, what do you say, huh, Tracy? Oh, come on, Tracy, huh? What do you say? Give a little something to talk about when you get back to Poplar Bluffs, Missouri. Tell all your friends and neighbors about the time you were in the big city, had a great time with a crazy comic-con. What do you say? Come on, please.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, folks, let's have a big hand right now for Tracy Henson. Come on up here, Tracy. She's a sweetheart. Gonna come up here and help me out. Okay, Tracy, I'll tell you what I want you to do first, if you would, is just hang on to this guy for a second. Will you do that, please? Tracy?
The chicken.
No, my leg. What? Of course, the chicken, Tracy. Don't be afraid. He's not going to bite. He's dead. We've established that already. Remember, folks? Okay. Now, Tracy, I want you to just get acquainted here for a second, darling. I'm going to tell the folks what's going on.
Senator, in answer to your question as to what are the prospects of an effective defense against the atomic bomb, I would state that there are no prospects at the present time of an effective defense.
Which brings us to civil defense. A serious but not frightening subject to... Oh, it has been said that there is no defense against the atomic bomb or the hydrogen bomb. This is not strictly true. No, let us address ourselves to preparation, not panic. There are 2 ways to greatly reduce the destructive effects of the bomb. The obvious one is the interception of the enemy warriors before they reach the target. The other is to have the home and family always prepared, just in case a bomb falls unexpectedly.
Just in case a bomb falls unexpectedly, we want this family prepared. The home bomb shelter is a worthwhile, practical, and inexpensive means of protecting your family from the intense heat, flying debris, and radioactive fallout that will occur if a bomb falls.
There are 5 different types of home bomb shelters. The first is the above-ground rubber wall shelter. This can be built in your backyard. It is pretty expensive, but quite a good protection against blast and fallout.
Now, these shelters have been tested by the Radio Signal Corps or the Radiation Lab at the Nevada test site. They should be built with at least 10 square feet per person, and they can cost anywhere from $200,000 to $15,000 before building. Consult your contractor or your local building laws.
Somebody playing with these cokes. Who's playing with these cokes? For God's sake, they could explode.
Panic and fear are your worst enemies. Remember the words of Franklin Roosevelt. We have nothing to fear but fear itself.
I cannot pass in silence because of their various repercussions, the experiments connected with the physiological effects of radium. In order to test the results, Pierre Curie voluntarily exposed his arm to the action of radium during several hours. This resulted in a lesion resembling a burn that developed progressively and required several months to heal. Henri Becquerel had by accident a similar burn as a result of carrying in his vest pocket a glass tube containing radium salt. He came to tell us of this evil effect of radium, exclaiming in a manner at once delighted and annoyed, "I love it, but I owe it a grudge."
The other day, I picked up this book. It was entitled, let me see if I can get this straight. It was entitled The Effects of Radioactive Fallout on Livestock in the Event of a Nuclear War. It is a gas. It's a scream. I got a big kick out of it. I tell you what I did. I Xeroxed a page from that book. Okay, by the way, folks, this book is put up at the National Academy of Sciences National Research Council. They are some funny, funny, funny guys. You better believe it. Anyway, I Xeroxed this page here on the chapter on what? Poultry, of course, you douchebags. Okay.
As I was saying, the primary consequences of a short-term exposure in a heavily exposed mammal, that is, in this case, a human being, is what we're considering here. Now, short-term exposure, subjugation to a massive dose of radiation over a short or brief period of time. Look,
I want to list off some of these symptoms, see, some of these syndromes that the folks are talking about here, and then, Tracy, I want you to demonstrate. For all the friendly faces out there, just what the poor suckers go through, okay?
Now, in PB, there is a source of penetrating radiation to one area or portion of the body. For example, foot dosage, not uncommon in an industrial accident, or a hand dosage, or even the old headshot.
Initially, they say, this is symptom number 1. Initially, there is a shaking of the head. Okay, Tracy, let's see what you can do. Okay, here we go. Problem, yes?
There's just the neck here.
Listen, Tracy. Can you give that bird some head, please? Speak right into the mic, please.
I'll try. Oh.
Gotcha, didn't I?
First of all, after a short or brief period of time, we have some dizziness, some nausea, vomiting, and violent diarrhea. Now,
Boardwalk Park with Tracy, get down. Way to shake that stump, girl. Move it all around. Yeah, you're good at that. Okay, moving right along here. Symptom number 2. Tracy, you can stop now. It's not going to get any bigger. Believe me, darling. Okay, here we go. Symptom number 2, they're talking about,
After 2 or 3 days, a general malaise or apathy descends upon the subject. Look.
Depression. Depression, they say, develops within a few days. The birds tend to crouch in a sleeping position for hours at a time. Okay, did you get that one, Tracy? Let's see it. This is bird depression, ladies and gentlemen. They get depressed, they start sleeping in late in the mornings, you know. M&M's for breakfast, you know the scene. That's right, yeah. Oh, she's getting it, she's working on it. She's got it, that's it. That's bird depression, ladies and gentlemen. You better believe it.
During this time, the subject may experience a little pseudo-euphoria.
Is it pseudo-euphoria, ladies and gentlemen? All right. Yes, Tracy, nothing pseudo about that euphoria. Oh, good leg action, Tracy. Yes, get down.
On the 5th week, the subject becomes feverish. He loses his appetite. He can't eat. He can't sleep. He can't walk. He can't talk. He's got
fever.
Wipe out.
You're good at this. Have you ever done this before?
No, I never have.
Oh, yes, the bone marrow. The bone marrow stops producing red blood cells. The inevitable consequence of that...
Look at that!
Geez, the boys here are telling me it's time to take off. We didn't get some of the best symptoms tonight. Doggone it!
Finally, we have a massive hemorrhaging internally as well as externally through all the little orifices, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, and the anus.
And you got problems with your hemorrhoids. Listen.
This is followed by a massive loss of calcium.
The green drop.
Bleeding heart.
A very heavy burden.
All sorts of diseases. And death.
Pure and simple. Is there a conclusion to this story? Not really. The mysteries of the universe will unfold as long as mankind exists. The history of science is poised at a fascinating juncture where these compelling instruments of power have grown beyond our wildest dreams. We stand before a sort of alchemical grand guignol.
On the back part of the step, I saw a small iridescent sphere of almost unbearable brilliance.
The LF's diameter was probably little more than an inch, but all space was there. actual and undiminished.
I saw the teeming sea.
I saw daybreak and nightfall.
I saw the multitudes of America.
I saw close-up, unending eyes watching themselves in me as in a mirror.
I saw all the mirrors on the earth, and none of them reflected me.
I saw bunches of grapes, snow, tobacco, loads of metal, steam.
I saw convex equatorial deserts, and every grain of sand in them.
I saw a woman in Inverness whom I shall never forget.
I saw her tangled hair, a tall figure.
I saw the cancer in her breast. I saw the cancer in
I
her
saw
breast.
a ring of baked mud in the sidewalk. Where before there had been a tree.
I saw a copy of the first English translation of Pliny, and all at the same time, each letter on each page. I saw a sunset in Quertetero that seemed to reflect the color of a rose in Bengal. I saw horses with flowing manes on a shore of the Caspian Sea at dawn. I saw the delicate bone structure of a hand. I saw the survivors of a battle sending out picture postcards.
In a showcase in Mirzapur, I saw a pack of Spanish playing cards. I saw the slanting shadows of ferns across a greenhouse floor. I saw pistons, bison, tigers, tides, and armies. I saw all the ants on the planet. I saw a Persian astrolabe. I saw a monument I had worshipped in the Chakrita cemetery.
I saw the circulation of my own dark blood.
I saw the Aleph from every point and angle.
And in the Aleph, I saw the earth.
And I felt dizzy, and I wept.
For mine eyes had seen that which no man has looked upon.
The unimaginable universe.
A friend of mine in a B-29 dropped another load for luck. As he flew away, he was heard to say, hubba, 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 yuck, yuck.
Well, I got another mission, it's okay. And with your kind permission, I'll just say, hubba, 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 on my way. And I'll dig you later in the USA. Dig, 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 dig you later. Dig, 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 dig you later.
Well, hubba, 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 just get in. Hubba, 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 give me some skin.
You're looking mighty pretty, this curly lock.